Right, if you ever had the problem with the bottom bracket tool falling out, so you put it in, it's just not a good enough fit, and it's just constantly, you can't turn it, I have a solution. Right, so you're gonna need three things. You're gonna need a nut, a bolt, and a washer, and it's imperative that this bolt is longer than the tool. So I'm actually using two washers just because I haven't got one that's the perfect size, so I need this one to spread the load there, and then one big enough to spread the load on the end of the tool here. So that's all the washers are for, just to spread the load so you don't damage your tool. They're not necessarily imperative, but I would definitely advise them. So you're going to want to make sure that your bolt is the same thread as your bottom bracket spindle, so you can screw it in slightly like that. Okay, so you're going to want to start with a nut and bolt and just screw the nut on, depending on how long the bolt is, but for me it's going to be about 3/4 of the way. And then you want to get your washer, or in my case two, just again spread that load on the tool, and then put the tool over. So you've got washer, nut attached to the bolt, and then you're going to put the bottom bracket tool into the bottom bracket, and then thread in as much as you can, and you'll find you can only get in about that much, but don't worry about it because that's not important, as long as it's caught on the thread. And if you just did this, it'd be wobbling about like crazy. So this is why this other nut's here. So you're just going to want to screw it onto there to make sure the washer's spreading the load, and then just get it finger tight and nip it, and then that is not going anywhere. Then you want to get your spanner, and remember, like, some of these, depending on what thread you have, might be a left-hand thread, so just be careful of that. And then you just want to give it some pressure, and hey presto. This also works for tightening the bottom bracket, so if you want to tighten it with this method, that also works. And then to remove it, just take the spanner off, put a spanner or your hand on the other side of the spindle, and just undo this nut again, and then undo the bolt, which again you're gonna have to hold on, and just like that.